Hi dear viewers and welcome to Bad Car Symptoms. Do you have a problem with weak cranking in your car? So you turn the ignition key and all you get is one or a couple of weak engine turnovers. If this is the case, then here are some of the most common reasons for this problem. So stay tuned. Bad car symptoms. Battery problems. The first and most common reason for weak cranking is a bad battery. You'll easily recognize this problem because when you turn the ignition key, all you'll get is a few weak cranks, after which the electric power will be completely gone. The dashboard lights will go dim, and in the best case, you have a couple of more weak turnovers, and that's that. After this, there will be no more electricity in the battery, and the car will be pretty much dead in the water. On this part, you can additionally confirm that the battery is the problem if the car starts normally after a jump start or a battery replacement. One more thing that is very important with this reason. Make sure that the battery clamps and terminals are clean and tight. Loose and dirty battery connections are a very common cause of weak cranking and can have similar symptoms to a bad battery. A bad alternator. If the battery is depleted, we would recommend that you also check the alternator voltage. If the alternator is bad, the car's whole electric system runs on the battery, and this is why the battery quickly gets depleted, causing the weak cranking. Especially check the voltage if you've noticed things like pulsating headlights, pulsating interior lights, and you must check the voltage if you notice the battery warning light appear on the dashboard. By measuring the alternator voltage with a multimeter, you can immediately find out if the alternator is causing the problem or not. A bad starter. Next reason is a bad starter. With a bad starter, you'll have electric power all the time. That won't be the problem, but the cranking will be slow, and it may also be accompanied by a clicking sound when you try to crank. With a bad starter, the slow cranking is usually caused by worn out brushes, worn out bushings, or a bad rotor. Also, with a bad starter, know that sometimes the cranking may be normal for a couple of times, but then it starts cranking slowly all of a sudden. What's also important to know with a bad starter, always check the connections to the starter. Mainly check the connection of the thicker cable to the starter solenoid. If this connection is filthy or loose, it can also cause weak cranking. A bad ground connection. Speaking about connections, always check the ground connections on your car. We always say that this is one of the most overlooked problems, so with weak cranking, if you notice that the starter, battery, and the alternator are okay, go and check the ground connections. First check all of the main connections. So start from the minus battery clamp, then go further to the connection from the clamp to the body, and then go from the body to the engine. Make sure that these connections are clean and tight. If they are loose, rusted, or dirty, they will easily mimic a starter problem, and this is the reason why people buy a new starter for nothing. A simple way to conclude if you have a bad ground connection to the engine is to use a jumper cable and connect it from the minus battery clamp directly to a clean and safe metal surface on the engine. After this, if the weak cranking disappears, you've probably found the culprit. Finally, dear viewers, for the most rarest but most serious and costly problem, and that is a damaged engine. To be more precise, that is an engine that is near seizing or is seized. The engine seizes for numerous reasons, and the number one reason is a lack of engine oil. If the engine works with less or no oil, the internal parts will suffer major damage. So, in this worst case, the battery, the starter, the alternator, and the ground connections are okay, but simply the starter can barely move the flywheel and the crankshaft, or it cannot move it at all, and this is where the weak cranking comes from. Some common warning signs of this problem is higher engine temperature all the time, the oil level on the dipstick is low or non-existent, and of course the dreaded oil warning light is on while the engine is running. So dear viewers, in the end of this video, we would like to recommend regarding weak cranking to always thoroughly inspect the problem before buying any parts. We say this because most of these parts and repairs are expensive to do. With a weak cranking problem, a good diagnosis is literally worth some serious money. We mainly mention this as lots of these problems have similar and misleading symptoms. For instance, because of a bad starter, people often go out and buy a new battery and do so for nothing. So, try the simple things first. Try jump starts, try checking the alternator voltage, try checking the oil level. These and other things are done in a couple of minutes and they cost nothing but give you a pretty good picture of what's wrong. So that's it for this time. We hope the video helps. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.